Some persons, some youth, so we consider that a challenge, and also literacy. A lot of persons can't read and write, even from age 12 to even 12. Oh, a lot of persons can't read and write. So you could see that all of them are linked with literacy. Now the high school you turn to gunman business and thing, and we thought of peer pressure as one for the youth.
I think we're going to do it this way, kind of wrap since you're doing the discussion now. You mentioned the literacy thing just now. I want to know, did it come up any at all in terms of what led persons to be in a state of illiteracy? Is it that persons never had a chance to go to primary basic school?
Right, because of funding that was about to be mentioned, and negligence by parents.
Okay.
Or parent activities and how you grow your child. Sometimes you know things that school is necessary because you be a part of your 3-year-old or your 5-year-old or your 7-year-old. You're looking with them to dance, you know them to do my read and I try to write. You yourself know you can't read and write, you know. And you know to say, oh, maybe make my child the opportunity, you know, do that. So negligence with parents and how they would grow up their child. And as I said, peer pressure, a lot of times your parents instill in you good attitudes, but because they go outside and see what other person's doing, you take it up on yourself and say, alright, then fine, if him a sling gun and it are the things I mean a sling gun too, and other stuff along those lines. And there was mention of dancehall music being a challenge and the violence in the music, but I'll just glide over that. And number 2 says, do some youth face greater exposure to systematic or physical violence based on gender, class, community affiliation, or sexual orientation?
Andrew, sorry. And can I also make another suggestion, because we have to go through 6 groups instead of going at this stage through 11 questions? Can the groups just summarize the big questions, the 3 big questions? Right. Does that make sense? Okay. So what are the challenges you face as young people in your societies? How do you think these may be addressed? What is the role? And just pick out the most powerful points in each of those that came, because then we won't get through. Okay. Right?
Could we ask?
Can we ask questions?
Of course. Can we ask questions?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I think it's better this way for asking the questions right now.
Okay. While he's going through. Okay. So we have some questions.
So
you talked about.
Have questions at this moment?
Yes.
You talked about the peer pressure. You said your parents try to instill good values, but something happens. Can you talk a little bit about what happens? What sort of peer pressure? Is it to smoke? Is it to drink? What sort of pressures are there?
She was asking what sort of pressures there are with peer pressure, because she had heard I was saying about the parents instilling good values in you, and sometimes you, because of peer pressure, you go outside of those values. She was asking to name some of the peer pressures. And smoking, as she said, is one, because you see somebody smoking and your friend in the day, they might not tell you, say you forgot smoking, but because they're your friend and you want to stay in the crowd because you think them are the in crowd, you are going to take it upon yourself to start smoke. And you might be living in the garrison and you see everybody around you slinging gun, and even if you live with Christian parents in a Christian home, and you go outside and see them a sling gun and you think, alright, then fine, them have it better than my Christian mother where ball and I pray to God. And then you just alright, then fine, if my sling gun and I live good, make me go sling gun too. That is some of the peer pressure that's happening. And also some sexual peer pressure. Some of us go ready for sex, but because everybody has thought about it and everybody doing it, we go take ourselves and do it.
Anybody else from his group has anything to add in terms of examples of peer pressure? What was in the group with Andrew?
I have nothing to add.
Nothing to add. All right. You had a question, sir?
I'd like an elaboration a bit on the dance hall. You say you're not going to get into that.
Right, because when we were discussing it, it caused a lot of controversy. As in, because we were mentioning that the dancehall music and how some things are said in it and bust gun and all, and how they degrade women, it's not really something good that we'd like to show. But a lot of persons some persons in the group were saying that it's what you take from it. You can listen to it and not take something bad from it. But what I was saying, if it's continually ringing in your ears, or bust gun and thing, at some point you're going to stick into your subconscious, and at some point you're going to want to take up the gun and continue degrading women, and so it is portrayed in dancehall music.
Also, on the music, we said because of the lack of parenting, the music takes the place of the parents, and so the message that's coming from the music becomes the reality that we live. It was a heated argument because some people disagree with this notion about the dancehall music.
Yeah, we'll find that dancehall, anytime it comes on to discussing dancehall, it's always controversial, and you know, people get very passionate.
Well, I agree with the part that the lack of parenting make the music become the teachers. Yeah, I agree with that part. I don't necessarily agree with all the facts that you said dancehall contribute this amount to violence.
Okay. So you're saying the breakdown in parenting then?
Parenting, yes.
Is kind of allowing or giving space to dancehall kind of thing.
Not just dancehall, even
music,
even movies as well. But I'm saying, being that dancehall is what we are mostly exposed to,
yes, people
will bring problems on.
Okay, gotcha. Yes,
I don't know if there is time, but I just wanted to ask, and perhaps ask you to reflect a little bit more. What do you think contributes to the breakdown in parenting?
Lack of knowledge.
Teenage pregnancy. Are some parents that are ready for the children to feet up on it?
I think
so getting from one man is from the parent and bar action group. Say it again so that
to me, some persons that's not ready for it and just leave like to own them husband
yeah. So you say that some parents are not ready to have children, right? Some of them may have a child to hold the man. I think, well, you know, to hold the man, you have to have a picnic for him. You understand? So that's one of the things that is pointing out.
It's a method for hold the man.
Listen.
There's a factor of the emotional aspect of parenting. A lot of people, I won't say a lot, but in some cases, people don't realize that once you become a parent, it's no longer about you, it's about your offspring. So there is still this need for wanting to party. I'm not saying parents can't go out and think, but prioritize. There's not enough prioritizing when it comes to dealing with your children. So we find that one, young parents can't control, can't deal with the situation of being a parent, and older people who become parents for not the reason for wanting to reproduce, but for other reasons, like to hold someone or for some monetary gain, right? Because they call baby money back or something like that. Something like that.
The baby is an investment.
Yes.
The retirement.
Right. So that
the variation, they use them as a money bag.
Money bag, something like that. So if you're having a child to have monetary gain.
That's not the right.
That's not so. From you go into it with that mentality. The whole thing about parenting just goes out the window. This is my money, right? And go to school, whatever. You actually, as a parent, you actually allow society to grow your child without even knowing it, doing it willingly. You allow them to be brought up by everything else except that.
All right, one thing. We're going to take her and we'll go back to Andrew and allow us to go through.
And some parents, they didn't have good parents, so they don't really know what good parenting is like. So then they do it, then their children grow up and they do it, and it just continues like a trend because in the beginning, parents, it's just like it just started there.
Yeah.
They didn't know what to do, they didn't do something right, and everything just went wrong, and it continued, and it gets worse every time.
People talking about one family bad. Yeah. And sometimes it's because of that.
Alright, yes, one more.
Right, we're actually looking at bad parenting versus good parenting, right? But why not look at the whole issue that this era has changed, and parents, mothers are not no longer staying home and looking after the home anymore, because we are fighting for gender equality, and you find that things has become challenging, so the mother has to go for the mothers with the absentee fathers, and we know we experience all of that right across Jamaica. And when that mother no longer can control what my child is listening to, watching on the television, and the TV and the radio start to socialize your child into becoming who they want him to become. Now the parents pour rent, light bill, everything and work. Cannot come home and say how was school. Yes, can't come home and say how was school today. But the time she's pressured. Yeah. The father might be pressured, right? And for the nuclear family, both parents are out there. And when they're out there, you find out that they have to work so hard, and they have to come home, and the little time that they come home, they have to think about the journey to go to work tomorrow again. Whether they come from St. Mary to Kingston, or from Kingston to downtown, the traffic is exhausting. So those issues are also impacting our parenting style as well.
All right. Going to take a serious
Okay. As regards to the other three questions, I'm just going to run through them really quickly. Number 2 mentioned about gender, class, and community. What we're saying about gender pertaining to crime is that for women, when they commit crime or violence, is not really mainstream in the media. And if it is done, it's mostly we discuss, and it's mostly like crime of passion. For example, if the women to say them man get them burned, them not outright shot them or stab them, then would I do something secretive and something under the cover like poison them. I give a bun, or another thing now, wait till me asleep for stab me up or dash hot water on me. Yeah. So them things they with those violent acts, it's not really shown in the mainstream media as in if a man did shot a man or stab up a man, or a man kill a man last week, and nothing that. But it's always there. And we also discussed that sometimes women are accessories to crimes. Me being a gunman, and me married to whomever, and me, have blood on my shirt. Instead of she report me or whatever, she wash up my shirt. And I hide my crimes or whatever. So that's something that we discussed. And in terms of class, we split it up in 3 classes: uptown, downtown, and country. Of course.